Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news, 3 people are in the hospital with gunshot wounds. This is a live look at the investigation in Durham happening on Guest Road.
Plus, Bourbon Street attack. Right now, a live look in New Orleans as investigators are there for a very active scene as the FBI is investigating this deadly attack as an act of terrorism.
New this morning, the identity of the man police say died when a Cybertruck exploded in Vegas. The possible connection between that man and the suspect in the New Orleans attack.
And it is a much colder start for us this morning compared to this time yesterday. We're going to talk about how higher temperatures get today and a look at the weekend coming up.
Certainly waking up with a chill in the air as you're walking out there this morning. Definitely have the seat warmers on the way in. But we want to thank you for joining us here on WRAL News. I'm Chris Loving, good in for Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Seat warmers, heaters, and turtlenecks are a good idea today as well. Meteorologist Anthony Baglione with those cold temperatures to start off our Thursday morning.
Yeah, it was noticeable walking outside this morning. We're talking temperatures about 10 to almost 20 degrees colder than this time yesterday. And what that translates to here as we go through today, we're starting off again, clear skies. It's nice and calm. We have no issues as far as storm systems are concerned. But we go through the afternoon, likely looking at temperatures right around 50, so a little bit below where we should be this time of the year. We currently feel like 33, though, in Raleigh. That wind chill value in the white box there, 31 in Fayetteville, 34 in Clinton. And that's what I would plan for this morning, low to mid 30s. We should not drop temperatures too much here the next couple of hours. Right about the freezing mark, the actual air temp there, again, probably still feeling like 31 or so. 48 to about 50 this afternoon. It comes with sunshine. We're completely dry today, but we're watching a new system that gets close to us as we head into Sunday night and Monday. We're going to go over some latest updates on that and talk about who sees rain and who may see a wintry mix coming up here in a few minutes.
Anthony, thank you. We're following breaking news. At least 3 people are injured after shooting in Durham. All of the victims arrived at the hospital after midnight. Nick Perlin is in the WRAL breaking news tracker at the Durham Police Department. And Nick, you saw police focusing their investigation on a parking lot.
Renee, that entire area of that parking lot was blocked off. They did clear it about 30 minutes ago, but I want to show you what this looked like when I was on the scene about an hour ago here. And you can see that area and that parking lot taped off as crime scene investigators laid down evidence markers and also snapped pictures of where the shooting happened. Now, we do know at sometime around midnight, gunshots started firing and 3 people were shot and they took themselves to the hospital. At this point in time, we're still working with the Durham Police Department to find out what led up to this shooting. We're also trying to find out if they know who fired those gunshots at this point in time, but we do know that all 3 of those victims are expected to recover from their injuries. We'll stay on top of this all morning. Live in Durham, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
More than 24 hours after the deadly attack in New Orleans' French Quarter, investigators are still at the crime scene on Bourbon Street. You're looking at a live image there as investigators have closed down that street during this time. And new this morning, the FBI released this new photo of the suspect, 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar. They say he intentionally drove a truck into a crowded street and killed at least 15 people and injuring dozens more. He then opened fire on police. The FBI is investigating this as an act of terror. Police have actually identified some of the people who died and those still alive recovering. We'll have more on that in a few minutes. But first, we should mention investigators are also looking into an explosion of a Tesla Cybertruck. That happened outside a Trump hotel in Las Vegas. That, too, is being investigated as a possible terror attack. Sources tell NBC News the Las Vegas driver had military experience, and they are looking into whether there is any connection to the military experience of the New Orleans suspect.
The suspect in the New Orleans attack has ties to North Carolina. We know he was stationed for a time near Fayetteville and Fort Liberty. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from Fort Liberty this morning. And Kelsey, his military history could play a part in this investigation.
Yes, Renee, this morning we're learning new information about Shamsuddin Jabbar and his ties here to Fort Liberty. We spoke with an expert who says that military history could play a role in this investigation. An Army spokesperson says Jabbar served between 2007 and 2015. There's a photo of him on the 82nd Airborne's Facebook page from 2013. It shows a soldier identified as Shamsuddin Jabbar working in IT. Voting records show show, Jabbar previously lived in Fayetteville. Divorce filings in Texas list his employer as Fort Bragg, now called Fort Liberty. We're working to confirm whether he was a part of the 82nd Airborne Division, so we'll be sure to keep you posted as we hear back from authorities. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Fayetteville.
Investigators in Nevada are working to determine if the attack in New Orleans is connected to the Cybertruck explosion in front of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. That explosion in Vegas killed the driver of the truck. Police identified the person as 37-year-old Matthew Livelsberger. Several people who were standing nearby were injured, and authorities say the back of the truck was loaded with gasoline canisters and large fireworks mortars. The truck was rented from a company called Turo, and that's the same rental company the driver in the New Orleans attack used to get his truck. Turo says it is cooperating with this investigation.
We're seeing new photos of some of the victims of the attack in the French Quarter. This was 27-year-old Tiger Betch, a former Princeton football player. According to his sister, Betch was walking back to his hotel with his best friend when the truck plowed through crowds on Bourbon Street. He died from internal injuries. His friend Ryan Quigley was injured. His condition is said to be stable. Betch lived in New York City, where he worked as a junior trader for a capital markets firm. He was originally from Lafayette, and his sister says he was visiting Louisiana for the holidays.
Investigators also identified 37-year-old Reggie Hunter as one of the 15 people killed. He was visiting from Baton Rouge. That's where he was a manager for a warehouse company. Hunter's cousin says he was on Bourbon Street with another cousin named Kevin Ball. Both were taken to the hospital with injuries. Hunter suffered a ruptured spleen, punctured lung, and internal bleeding. He did not survive. He leaves behind an 11-year-old and a 1-year-old child.
The Sugar Bowl is now happening this afternoon. It was postponed after the news of the attack. Notre Dame and Georgia now play today at 4 p.m. in New Orleans. In a statement, the Sugar Bowl says law enforcement that's typically available for the game was occupied with the investigation. The postponement allows for additional security. Coaches for both teams say their players and staff are safe, and you can watch the bowl game this afternoon on ESPN.
The Today Show will have live coverage from New Orleans this morning as the story unfolds. That's ahead on Today, starting right here on WRAL at 7.
Here in Wake County, the search is on this morning for the driver who crashed this car into a home while racing. The crash happened on Caddy Road just before 9:30 p.m. Highway Patrol says 2 cars were racing when one driver lost control. That car went about 200 feet off the road before hitting an air conditioning unit outside the house. No one was hurt in the crash. Troopers were able to find the driver of the other car and was cited and released.
The nation's debt ceiling has been reinstated. The cap was suspended last June as part of the Bipartisan Fiscal Responsibility Act. The debt ceiling currently stands at about $36 trillion. In a letter sent to congressional leaders last week, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the debt level will actually decrease by $54 billion today. As a result, Yellen says the country is not expected to hit debt limit until sometime between January 14th and January 23rd. Now, once that happens, the Treasury Department will have to start taking measures to prevent a default.
It is 4:38. A community is mourning a young teacher.
They were a really loving family. Valerie and Violet, I don't know 2 sisters who loved each other like they did.
How former professors, students, and colleagues are remembering Valerie Goldstein after she tragically died Christmas Day.
Ramping up security. How law enforcement is preparing for major events next week in D.C. as the concern about terrorism increases.
And we'll give you a live look at North Hills right now. Grab the coat. It is much colder out there this morning. What a change. Meteorologist Anthony Baglione will tell us when we could see some rain this week.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
All right, the time now is 4:42 here on our early morning where we're starting off chilly out there. We see wind chill values at the moment, what it feels like at 33 around the triangle. Already down to 29 there in Roxborough, 30 in Southern Pines. Going through today, though, you're going to want to have that winter coat handy as opposed to the past couple days where you may have been able to dress in some layers. We're looking at wind chill values even at noon, right about 40 degrees, 44 is what it should feel like, closer to about 2. It'll come with sunshine, though, so we don't have any big storm systems today. We go through the weekend, though, we see temps drop off off even more on Saturday at 41, 46 on Sunday. Then we get to Monday, where I've actually taken temperatures up just a little bit. That likely will keep us all in the form of some rain Monday morning into Monday afternoon.
Breaking news, at least 10 people are injured after a shooting at a nightclub in Queens, New York. Police say this happened late last night. Investigators also say someone in a car opened fire from the street and was possibly followed by a second car. All 10 people who were hurt are expected to live. We'll update you as soon as we learn more about this case.
President Biden condemned the attack in New Orleans. During an address last night, he assured people he is putting every possible resource toward this investigation.
I directed my team to make sure every resource is made available to federal, state, and local law enforcement to complete the investigation in New Orleans quickly and to make sure there is no remaining threat to the American people.
The president urged patience as the investigation moves forward, thanking first responders and law enforcement for their quick action. He also talked about the Cybertruck explosion outside a Trump hotel in Las Vegas. The president says investigators are looking into any possible connection between the two attacks.
A man surrendered to a SWAT team outside the Houston home of the New Orleans attack suspect. Video shows the man coming from the home with his hands up. You see it right here on your screen. The SWAT team brought at least 4 kids and 5 adults from that house. The man who surrenders appears to be taken into custody. The FBI says no arrests have been made at this time.
We spoke with local first responders about how a crime scene like the one in New Orleans can be preserved during the effort to save people's lives. We caught up with responders who were at a similar attack that happened in 2006 at the pit on UNC Chapel Hill's campus. A man drove an SUV into a crowd, hitting 9 people. Retired Chapel Hill Fire Chief Daniel Jones recalls the scene.
It's a balancing act. And in the process of treating patients, frequently evidence can be disturbed, which can upset the investigation, but preservation of life has to take priority.
No one died in the Chapel Hill attack. Barricades are in place around the pit to keep cars from driving into that area.
Federal authorities are increasing security ahead of some major events this month because of the deadly attack in New Orleans. In D.C., barriers are protecting streets around the Capitol and the White House. Officers standing watch around the clock right now. The district is preparing for 3 major events in the coming weeks. The congressional certification of the presidential election is happening Monday, and then after that is the state funeral of former President Jimmy Carter and the presidential inauguration. Experts say the number of domestic terrorist attacks and plots against government targets has nearly tripled in the past 5 years.
A Christmas tragedy in New England hits home for students in Edgecombe County. Valerie Goldstein was a teacher at Baskerville Elementary. She died on Christmas Day from possible carbon monoxide poisoning. Goldstein worked at the school for just 4 months. She was a Teach for America fellow who taught English and social studies. Goldstein was just 22 years old. She and 3 other family members all died in a New Hampshire vacation home. Goldstein's former professors, students, and colleagues have only kind things to say about the young teacher.
You could hear the drive that she had for education when she was interviewing, and it became very apparent that that drive was a part of who she was as she came here. We were nothing but amazed at the success that she had and the relationships that she built with her students.
Grief counselors will be at the school Monday when students return. Goldstein's class will be covered by a long-term sub.
The person accused of pushing a man off a New York subway platform into the path of an oncoming train is now facing an attempted murder charge. Kamel Hawkins was arraigned in a Manhattan criminal court yesterday. He'll be held in jail until his next court date on Monday. Authorities say Hawkins pushed 45-year-old Joseph Linsky off the platform on Tuesday. First responders say he survived by a matter of inches. He fell next to the train, not directly beneath it. His injuries include a ruptured spleen, 4 broken ribs, and a fractured skull.
Ukraine has made good on its promise to halt the transport of Russian gas to Europe through its territory. Ukraine refused to renew a transit deal with Moscow yesterday after it expired. This was an expected but symbolic move after nearly 3 years of its full-scale war with Russia. Europe has already drastically cut Moscow's share of its gas imports.
Your state income taxes are going down this year. This year's cut is 0.25% from 4.50% to 4.25%. Now, for the average worker in North Carolina, that works out up to about $131 or roughly $11 a month. Now, that may not be a lot of money in your pocket, but it will have an impact on the state budget. Budget experts estimate that it will cost the state about $1.25 billion every year. This is the 8th time state income taxes have been cut since 2014, and another is planned for next year. Right now, the income tax cap is 7%. You may remember last month the state Senate approved a proposal that would have lowered that cap to 5%. The House did not pick it up, and a new session is about to begin, so that bill is dead. State lawmakers get back to work for the 2025 session next week.
Today, applications for the Wake Forest Police Junior Cadet Program open. The program is intended to help young people prepare for careers in public safety. A junior cadet should be 14 to 20 years old and be interested in the field of law enforcement. The application will stay open until all spots in the program are filled. It is 4:49 on your Thursday morning, the second day of the new year, and quite a change with our morning temperatures, Anthony. We're taking the plunge.
It's noticeable, yeah. As you step outside this morning, our temps are down about 15 degrees or so compared to this time yesterday. You look at Clinton, we're down about 20 degrees compared to where we were waking up yesterday morning. As our day goes on, I should say, we're going to see temps kind of climb up close to 50. We may not quite get there. We feel, though, like 33 in Raleigh. That's the wind chill value in the white. 35 in Goldsboro, 31 at the moment in Rocky Mount. And then for Roxborough, for instance, we're sitting at 29. As that feels like value. Here's what you should plan on though as we go through today. That lighter blue is the kind of more important number, I would say, the wind chill value. 35 there at 10 o'clock, 40 at lunchtime. We stay chilly all day long. It's not going to be super breezy or anything, but just enough where we can kind of see that wind chill value dipping down through this afternoon. Here's what we have going on across the region though. So we're still quiet like we had yesterday. We have our wind barbs there kind of coming out of the northwest. That's bringing in all of that cooler air, but you notice even some snow showers up to our north. It's a very chilly air mass that's in place at the moment. That's going to set the stage here for our weekend potential system getting close to us. I will say that looking here at the latest models, it's taken this just a tick to the north. And so that would make most of us looking at all rainfall. Here is Sunday morning, though. The system's still back to our west. You notice that kind of, again, transition line there with the pink. We're looking at rain starting there Sunday night into early Monday morning. But that pink line that we were talking about yesterday, that's gotten pushed a little bit farther to the north. And so what that would do is likely keep most of us in the form of some rain Monday morning before this tapers off into Monday afternoon, and then push that wintry mix up into Virginia. It's still so close, though, that I want to just encourage you Sunday night into Monday. Still just keep an eye on the forecast. We're going to be fine-tuning this here the next couple days, and it may still be just a touch slick for some of us Monday morning with that rain and wintry mix. 51 there on Friday, 41 on Saturday. We see temperatures still in the 40s as we head through the majority of next week.
All right. Thanks, Anthony. A man from Virginia is proving that you don't have to be young just to enjoy some winter sports.
Here at this place, everybody's friendly.
We're going to introduce you to the 85-year-old who is still hitting the slopes every single chance he gets.
Wow. And that's how I want to ski. I'm trying to learn. Anthony Raleigh returns. Everything you need to know about this year's convention.
A first look at both Kristen Stewart's latest romance and Carrie Underwood's new concert special. Rick Damigella has more in the Hollywood Minute.
I don't know if you could tell, but it's date night.
Kristen Stewart and Stephen Yeun find romance. The pair star in Love Me as inanimate objects who learn about life and love through the internet long after humans have become extinct. This is your first look at the drama, which arrives in theaters on January 31st.
Are you ready to have a great time?
Carrie Underwood's Vegas residency comes home. The singer's hit show at Resorts World Las Vegas has been turned into a televised special titled Carrie Underwood Reflection. The event lands on Hulu and Disney Plus on January 24th.
There's no such thing as safe in this world.
A violent look at the Wild West. This is a sneak peek at the Netflix drama American Primeval, which follows the gritty birth of the American West. Taylor Kitsch stars in the limited series, which debuts on January 9th. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Animate Raleigh is returning to the convention center this weekend. Tomorrow through Sunday, the convention will celebrate all things animated, inviting artists and voice actors from some of the most popular animated series. The event is run by the same group that brings GalaxyCon each year. GalaxyCon Raleigh generated more than $9.75 million in economic impact last year. Organizers hope for Animate Raleigh to bring an additional $4 million this weekend.
So if you need some motivation to meet the New Year's resolution that you made, check out this 85-year-old Virginia man who hits the slopes year after year. He's got some pretty cool moves, too. Dick Soderquist was just 18 the first time he skied in Vermont. Now at 85, his love for the mountains has only grown. For decades, he has traveled from Alexandria, Virginia, nearly every winter weekend just to ski.
How long do you plan to keep coming back and doing this?
As long as my body will let me.
Okay, good answer. Soderquist's wife, Kathy, passed away 2 years ago, and now he says he skis with friends he's met on the slopes over the years. It's fun. It's a New Year's tradition for the city of Philadelphia, the annual Mummers Parade. It is considered to be America's longest-running folk parade, delighting visitors for 124 years. The parade features dancing, colorful costumes, and music, and it is a favorite event for so many people. Looks good, too.
4:57, a driver is on the run after crashing into a home in Wake County.
Next thing I know, I heard the limbs and stuff start breaking, and next thing I know, hit my house.
We'll hear from the homeowner who was inside when the car slammed into his house.
Plus, 3 people shot in Durham. We will show you the scene on Guest Road where investigators were for nearly 4 hours.